1v1 Calderis Refinery blue side. It's Noisy, plays a Blood Ravens Force Commander, offensive, fights in melee combat but very versatile, can tank, disrupt and support with buffs. And up against on the red side is Tyger's Chaos Lord, durable and destructive commander, walks through cover and cannot be suppressed, very good offense and disruption. Calderis then, classic map in all game types. We have a contested VP in mid, natural for Noisy in the south, natural for Tyger in the north. Chaos Lord is going to come mid, Force Commander should be able to cap it in time though, might try and knock him back with Kill the Weak. We have a triple scout opening for Noisy, maybe snipers, maybe, I doubt it though. Chaos Lord can't quite knock him off, or can he? Yes, no! Did Kill the Weak, didn't seem to knock back the Force Commander, not sure what happened there. 486, 497, and there's a 2-to-1 cap early on from Noisy. What are we going to see? Perhaps some Devastators or double devs from Noisy with those triple scouts, Tyger with Chaos Space Marines and some more heretics. These guys capping a wreck point. Force Commander is going to come and harass them, taking damage as he comes in though, and Chaos Space Marines are very capable in melee combat for a ranged squad. They will put some pressure on that Force Commander, especially if they can get some support from heretics. Here we go. Force Commander's in a bit of trouble. Noisy recognizing the threat and pulls away, in fact retreats, and made those heretics waste that Doom Blast. Doom Blast doesn't cost energy to use, but of course does cost you a model to use. Some players can be a bit over eager in using it and bleeding themselves. Scouts taking pot shots with their bolters but cannot get another model off of those heretics. We have some tactical marines backing up those triple scouts for Noisy. Heavy range infantry, very much like Chaos Space Marines, but a bit tougher and a bit more versatile heading into tier 2 onwards. Firing away with those bolters at range against that Chaos Lord. Chaos Lord begins with a power melee weapon, much like the Brother Captain does, 30 DPS, so you can put some pressure on heavy armor quite quickly with it. 486, 449, still that 2-to-1 for Noisy. Scouts shooting away at heretics in mid, I believe. Here comes that Force Commander. There's Kill the Weak, but only hits the Force Commander, and the Chaos Lord is backed off. Did push Noisy all the way back to his base, but he can now go spread out with triple scouts and tactical marines, which cap faster and get this map. Tyger with some raptors. Heretics capping mid, these guys losing a model. The other squad hasn't lost a model. Heretics begin as this fragile but still quite dangerous melee squad. On demand suppression from close range with their Doom Blast, and we see it there, but as you saw there, you have no way of knowing which model will Doom Blast, and since the model that Doom Blasted was too far away, the scouts were not suppressed or damaged there. 480, 448, Tyger doing it a bit too soon. Eternal War is up on his Chaos Space Marines, gives them a flat 20% damage increase. Can tell by the plus icon above their indicator and those insignias around their bolters. Here come Raptors suppressing this entire blob. Devastators are up for Noisy. Interesting tier 1 for him. And Devastators are immediately forced off and losing 2 models as well. Raptors do very good DPS. I think they're 30 DPS per model with their chainswords, which is pretty damn good for a jump squad with a reasonable amount of hit points as well, of heavy armor no less. More DPS than Assault Marines do, and their AoE suppression is very, very good. Almost losing a model there, but the Force Commander is backed off. He's going for Artificer. 465, 448, and Tyger is going to get a 2-to-1. Combi Flamer is up. Will be very dangerous for those scouts. Should be able to peel off models quite quickly. Raptors jump those guys and retreat. This was already capped on this east side. Wants them to heal up at base so they don't lose models. Here come double heretics to this west side, still in a default 8-man melee state. They can get an aspiring champion who's a Chaos Marine leader and can kit themselves out with grenade launchers, and these guys now have that aspiring champion. There he is, and he's pretty mean as well, increasing the health of the entire squad and makes them quite capable in melee combat. Kraken bolts up for these tactical marines, forcing off those CSM, and now it's a hero duel. Tyger recognizing that that's not going to do him much good, so goes after these tactical marines. The Combi Flamer is not firing here. 445, 448. Sometimes happens for some reason as a model chases. It doesn't fire even if he's not in his melee charge. Up goes the Dark Halo. So we might see Lightning Claws in tier 2. And then combine that with the Harness of Rage. 433, 448. At the moment though, he's just going to be a very annoying and tough Chaos Lord that can chase you around and punish you for kiting away. Scouts don't really want to fight Raptors. I think we're going to see both players going to tier 2 now. Triple Scouts with their bolters in a default state, no sergeants, no weapon upgrades. And look at that jump, suppressing Tactical Marines and double Scouts. There is the battle cry though from the Force Commander. These Raptors in serious trouble. Tactical Marines should have forced melee there, might have got a model off them. Can the Force Commander get one though? Does a special attack from Battle Cry and misses Battle Cry, gives a plus 10% damage buff each time he performs one of those special attacks, and he performs a lot of special attacks with Battle Cry active. There is the Iron Halo. Artificer also giving him that extra durability and energy. 433, 448. Tactical Marines with their Kraken bolts again, 20% more damage to heavy armor, which is what those Chaos Space Marines are. Also affects their melee combat, but here come Heretics. And Aspiring Champion Heretics are a problem for Tactical Marines in tier 1. 433, 438, especially with support. Really nice play from Noisy, disrupting those Heretics, and Tactical Marines can turn to engage. Force Commander takes down a model, gets a sync kill, and Heretics bleeding 4 models there, and they didn't even get to engage their Tactical Marines. Really nice play from Noisy. 433, 426, more Devastators for Noisy. I thought he was going to go tier 2, but I guess not. These guys will set up and suppress with this heavy bolt. You cannot suppress the Chaos Lord, but he will take a lot of damage as he gets close. But he's just going into them there with the Dark Halo up and depleted. Uses the passive melee charge to get into combat. Takes down a model as well, but runs into another one. Needs to run away. There we go. 433, 410. You don't get much heavier tier 1 than this from Noisy. 2 pieces of war gear, double Devastators, Tactical Marines, triple Scouts. Hasn't spent that much power though. I think it's 20 power for Artificer, 25 for Iron Halo, and a Devastator is 30 each, so not too bad. There's a lot of field presence now, but can he make these Scouts, these triple Scouts, transition into tier 2? Needs to be careful here. Devastators under huge amounts of pressure from those Raptors, but they do get away, and the Devastators get away with 2 models, and they're very lucky to do so. We have Grenade Launcher Heretics weighing in with some range fire. Grenade Launchers are 20 power to get on the field. How is he going to transition these Scouts? Is he going to keep them like this to run around and give him some map control while the double devs and Tactical Marines engage? Is he going to perhaps give them shotguns to really shut down these Heretics? He does have the Force Commander who can special attack them in the face though. Maybe get a Thunderhammer as well. 421, 397. West side power node is going to be shot down by these bolters, but will take them a little while. Heretics chasing Scouts all the way back into their base opening here, but they do get away. 6 models left on this squad, and Force Commander takes mid. Devastators are going to reposition behind this. No, they aren't. Where are they going? 420, 394. They're going to set up right in the open there. Scouts decap and run away. Really nice play from Noisy, managing all of these squads, keeping his Scouts mobile, keeping them capping. Look how he's spread out here. Tyger going for a Blood Crusher. Must know that he has a huge tech advantage since Noisy got that second Devastator squad. And the Devastators haven't really paid off for him so far. He's forced off the Chaos Lord once, forced off the Raptors once, but they've lost, I think, about 4 models, which is not cheap to reinforce. Raptors jump in this squad, and they have their Aspiring Champion. This guy is awesome. Plasma Pistol and Lightning Claw. 40 power melee DPS from that thing. They're going to tie up these Devastators. Chaos Lord tanking damage as long as he can, but is going to be forced off. Force Commander is very tanky with that Artificer and that Iron Halo. 1020 hit points at level 1 with those pieces of war gear, with that shield as well. I'm not sure how the Dark Halo and Iron Halo compare in terms of efficiency, how efficient they are at turning damage into energy absorption, but I'm going to guess that it's quite similar. 417, 367, here comes the Blood Crusher. Tier 2 walker type vehicle, I suppose you could call him. Good at line breaking and chasing things down, has some pretty nice heavy melee DPS as well. I think it's 80 something DPS and it's quick, but as you can see, with just 600 hit points on a melee vehicle and how much hit points it lost there to that single las cannon shot, it can go down. Really need to support these guys with worship since they are a demon. Benefit very well from worship. Raptors staying in this engagement, take down a tactical marine. That's 75 requisition down the drain for Noisy, but does take down a raptor as well. So that was a pretty good trade. But look at this from Tyger. Look at this map control. With triple scouts on the field, he's really pulled this off nicely. 387, 367. Has been really good at using his kill slot to keep the pressure on and just puts these heretics and CSM on capping duty. These guys now have their aspiring champion, bolt pistol and chainsword, pretty decent in melee combat, and adds to their range DPS as well. Blood Crusher's now going to need to be very careful. Tyger going for Plague Marines to put some pressure on this Razorback. A support vehicle for Space Marines allows you to reinforce and transport allied infantry. Twin linked heavy bolter on top, but it doesn't suppress. Decent damage to infantry though. There's some Khorne worship will boost the speed and health and energy regen of this Blood Crusher. Not many things in the game that benefit from Khorne worship more than a Blood Crusher. Huge benefits. 355, 367. Eats a las cannon shot. Thunderhammer is up for the Force Commander. Las cannon now too far away, as you can see there, to fire. Thunderhammer's a power melee weapon, so it's not going to go head to head with the Blood Crusher and win, but he can tank a lot of damage with that Iron Halo. And here are the Plague Marines under Khorne worship, making them a bit speedier. They are usually quite slow, have that snaring missile launcher and damage over time bolters, and 2,000 hit points. Raptors jumping in, try and get some models off the Devastator, but they get into the Razorback. 352, 359 is a 2-to-1 cap. It's very, very close. Really is on the edge this game. Plague Marines running away from the Force Commander. Plague Marines do not actually have heavy armor, but needless to say that Thunderhammer will hurt them quite a lot. 352, 349. Plague Marines do explode when they die, which heals allies and damages enemies as well as knocking them back. And there you see it. Knocking back the Force Commander. Doesn't heal themselves, unfortunately for them, but will heal their bodies. Raptors jumping in. Can't do a whole lot to that Razorback, but they're trying. We have some Mark of Khorne Chaos Space Marines as well. These guys now have chain axes, a health buff, a speed buff. Can they take down this Razorback? The aspiring champion also gets a melter pistol. The chain axes incidentally are power melee weapons. 352, 328. Tactical Marines with a missile launcher to help put the pressure on this Blood Crusher. We really have some awesome army compositions here, and they're all alive. No squad losses yet. 352, 328. There's a smoke shell from the Razorback providing some damage resistance, but he's gone out of his own smoke and might go down to these Plague Marines missile launcher. They need to tie them up. Force Commander needs to go and tie them up, but forces them off anyway with triple repairs from the scouts, keeping the Razorback around. Wow, still no unit losses. But look at the map for Tyger. Has a 2-to-1 cap, has the eastern contested power. Noisy has the western, so it's pretty much dead even in map control, apart from the central victory point, of course. Plague Marines need to run back to base to reinforce.
One of our generators is under attack.
Chaos Lord trying to tank an entire army and decides it's not worth it and runs away. He's level 2 now, 1200 hit points with the Harness of Rage up. So are we going to see those lightning claws? Harness of Rage powering his shield, but also gives him that 10% damage to melee, 10% buff to melee damage, I should say. 315, 328. There's 2-to-1 for Tyger still. Heretics running away. Just Space Marines almost level 2 with that Mark of Khorne, Aspiring Champion and Eternal War. These guys are now a pretty expensive but reasonably fearsome melee squad. He could use some Bloodlust Global to support the Raptors and those Mark of Khorne CSM Raptors jump in at Devastators, but then move away from them. Now they are firing. Down goes the Blood Crusher. A couple of las cannon hits and a missile launcher shot are all it took. 311, 322, 2-1 cap for Noisy now. Can the Razorback live? Plague Marines trying to get into range with Khorne Worship, but Razorback is just too fast and gets away, or does it? It's now sitting still. Force Commander and Tactical Marines. Tactical Marines have their Sergeant, so they could use and they shall know no fear if they charge up the damage. Chaos Space Marines getting away with 3 models, and that is incredibly lucky. 3 models with 141 hit points. 311, 304. We might see a triple here for Noisy. What's going on mid? Raptors are decapping and Scouts are decapping up here. Look how quickly Noisy's able to switch the map control around with these triple Scouts and support his Razorback. Scouts in retreat down to 1 model. Will he bother to reinforce those guys? 311, 297, tier 3 for Tyger. Raptors in amongst Tactical Marines, but the Force Commander is there, and Tactical Marines are no slouch with their Sergeant in melee combat. He gets a chainsword and they've leveled up to 2 now.
I hear you. Go ahead.
311, 297. Would it be worth getting a plasma gun at this stage? 30 power for that thing for his Tactical Marines. I suppose he wants to wait to see what happens in tier 3 if he still needs this missile launcher. 311, 297 does lower your DPS to infantry though, since the missile launcher will very rarely hit them. You can get lucky though and kill a few light infantry models with it. 311, 297. Force Commander putting the pressure on and is forced off. We've seen that a lot from both players, putting the pressure on up to the base entrance and judging the engagement very well and getting away. 311, 297 still with the 1-to-1 cap. Center is, I think, going to turn red. Yes, here comes the Chaos Lord to do so. Force Commander's level what? He's level 2 as well. Almost have exactly the same experience, the Chaos Lord and the Force Commander. Chaos Lord still rocking that combi flamer and a Dreadnought on the way for Noisy. Very interesting choice. And not a bad choice, because there's only Plague Marines really that can put some pressure on it. He just has to run in and tie them up, and they aren't doing a whole lot. Chaos Lord himself can't get an anti-vehicle weapon. 307, 297. Plague Marines getting shots on the Razorback, but it's being triple repaired and has smoke up. Raptors jumping in. And they have melters. In tier 3 you can give your Raptors a bunch of melter guns and a melter bomb, which will help versus the Dreadnought, but they've been forced off here. Still trying to put pressure on a Razorback. This is really masterful play from Noisy, who is that Razorback has used it perfectly well. 290, 297. Dreadnought now putting all sorts of pressure on Tyger and takes down the Chaos Lord. The first loss of the game in terms of a whole unit or a commander. 282, 297. Oh, I suppose the Blood Crusher went down, didn't it? Don't forget the poor little Blood Crusher. Didn't do a whole lot. 278, 297. This generator's just clinging on to life. 61 hit points. Noisy's going to cap mid, is he? Single Scout's going to do so. Level 2 Scouts. Level 1 Scouts. Tactical Marines, level 2. Dreadnought is a melee walker by default for the Space Marines. Those 2 nasty close combat weapons, and that wrist mounted flamer does heavy melee splash damage. 266, 297. You can give it a ranged weapon, but it loses the splash damage on its melee if you do so. There's the melter bomb. Plague Marines getting shots. Dreadnought unconcerned. Melter bomb goes off. Has now snared its movement, but it can still attack. 266, 288. It's a double cap for Noisy. Decaps Tyger's natural. Mark of Khorne CSM getting into combat with those Tactical Marines, which is where they want to be. Raptors jumping out. Boom, big Emperor's Fist on their face though. No, that was a special attack in fact. There was no stun, so it wasn't an Emperor's Fist. Raptors now in retreat. Force Commander tanking an entire army and knocking them all over the place with that Thunderhammer. Such an awesome disruption weapon. That Dreadnought is going ballistic, inspiring nearby allies with every melee kill. But look at this. Chaos Terminator is hitting the field. And these guys have power fists, and they're going to go after this dreadnought now. 266, 240, and this thing's going to go down. Overextended by Noisy. Got a bit too excited with it, and he's right outside Tyger's base, and it goes down. What are we going to see now from these Terminators? Are we going to see lightning claws? Are we going to see an autocannon? Tier 3 for Noisy. He has tons of red. Could get some Terminators soon. Just needs a bunch more power and some more requisition. 266, 210. Has the double cap. That Dreadnought did a reasonable job killing stuff, putting pressure on, but he didn't want to lose it there, obviously. 266, 194, las cannon is still up, and that thing is going to do a lot of damage to these Terminators. Terminators count as a large unit, so anti-vehicle weapons will hit them reliably. Chaos Terminators demoralize nearby enemies with each kill, which is pretty awesome ability for them to have. You do need to get a lot of kills quickly for it to stack up and be really noticeable though. I think it reduces damage by 5% and increases damage taken by 2% per stack. I think it stacks about 5 times. 266, 186. Each individual stack doesn't last a long time though. Raptors melt upon the Razorback, which helps take it down. Mark of Khorne CSM in there as well with their chain axes. These guys almost level 3 going after the Tactical Marines, but they use and they shall know no fear with the Force Commander there as well. Tyger pulling these guys out, which is a good decision. Raptors losing 2 models and flee. These Tactical Marines have been amazing here. Tanking tons of damage, now putting pressure on the Terminators who teleport out, and they get away with 2 models, but they lost their Sergeant, as you can see there. 259, 186. Chaos Terminators firing away with their twin link bolters, which is a healthy amount of DPS. Don't need to upgrade your Terminator weapons for them to be effective. Fleeing from the Force Commander here. He'll do a lot of damage to the super heavy infantry armor with that power melee. Thunderhammers level 4, still quite surprised that they're fleeing though. Thought they'd turn around and smack him with the power fist, and that's why. He must have known that one of the models was very, very low on hit points. One hit and down it goes. Very high level players can try to track visually which model on their units is taking all the damage. That might have been what Tyger was doing there. 233, 186. I would have just turned them around and tried to punch the Force Commander in the throat with my power fists and lost the model. Devastators level 2. With their heavy bolter, they do have their advanced targeting as well. 223, 186, 2-1 for Tyger, and he's going to hold mid for the time being of Stern Guard veterans for Noisy. Doesn't need to reinforce them, just give them the Stern Guard upgrade and they get a permanent Sergeant, but they do reset their levels, and those Tactical Marines were level 3. 213, 186. Force Commander's level 4. He's been amazing in the last couple of minutes, holding up the Chaos Army, killing stuff left and right, but now needs to retreat. Stern Guard are up, and they're using their Kraken bolts, which is the default ammo type. These guys are first company Tactical Marines that can change their ammo to combat all targets. Kraken bolts right now, pretty much it's not worth using them, unfortunately. They are going to be looked at, I think, at some point in the future, but at the moment most players will just switch between Vengeance rounds for heavy armor and vehicles, and Hellfire rounds for light infantry and commanders, with the odd Dragonfire thrown in for units in garrisons and such. As you just saw there, Assault Terminators hitting the field for Noisy. Thunderhammers and Storm Shields, hugely tough, 5,400 hit points compared to the Chaos Terminators with a relatively paltry 3,750 hit points. These guys will get a health buff if they get the Lightning Claws, and the Assault Terminators will in fact lose hit points if they get their Lightning Claws. They will both come out with 4,500. Since the Assault Terminators losing their shield is the thinking behind them, you're losing some health. The Thunderhammers they have here are heavy melee, so they will damage all targets, unlike the Thunderhammer that the Force Commander is carrying. 169, 186, a 1-to-1 cap. Tyger not happy to see the Force Commander again. Look how close it is. What an awesome game. We have 2 Terminator squads on the field. Both players into tier 3. Both can drop a nuke as well. That could be vital Assault Terminators capping mid. I bet he wishes he had Markov Zinch CSM right about now. Put some pressure on his Terminators. Level 3 Markov Khorne, we'll see what they can do. These guys have lost their aspiring champion. Does have Melter Raptors, and Melter Guns will do a lot of damage to super heavy infantry. 125% damage I believe they will do. Lazkanen gets a big hit on the Chaos Lord there, who's level 3, and there's the Imperial Abyss. Takes out 2 Devastators, causes havoc, but his Stern Guard should get away fine. This might cause Noisy to just pull out of this engagement here. Wanted that Devastator for fire support. 169, 162 Raptors will no longer suppress on their jump anymore with their Melter Guns. These guys level 3, must be doing some decent DPS. No, Noisy's not pulling out of this engagement, he's sticking it in. Scouts there, sitting back. Maybe you should give those guys sniper rifles, get some shots in. There's an orbital. This is the Space Marine nuke. Catches a Terminator and some heretics. Is it going to wipe these heretics? Let's see. Lifts them into the air, doing damage over time, then explodes. Boom. Yes, pretty sure those heretics were wiped out. One of the flashier nukes, and can be pretty devastating in an elite mod. Has a huge range increase in the mod. Going after these Terminators is that Force Commander who's really come into the fore tier 2 onwards with that Thunderhammer. Chaos Lord is down incidentally. Lazkanen getting shots on his Chaos Terminators who are in trouble, losing a model there. Assault Terminators and the Force Commander chasing. Markov Khorne CSM in turn chasing those Terminators, doing a lot of damage with those chain axes. Wow. And they teleported, I think, onto the Chaos Terminators who are wiped out. No, they aren't. There's one model still there, Ingrid. Terminators both in trouble. Force Commander going head to head with this guy and takes him down with a sync kill. That is awesome. He's going to level, is he? Yes, level to 6 by taking that Terminator down. And now the Assault Terminator is trying to flee. 169, 106. Devastator needs to fight upon the CSM. What is it doing? And he can't do it in time, and those Terminators are wiped out. Wow. Who needs Markov Zinch CSM? These guys kicked some serious arse there with that chase potential. Bloodletters spawned on the field from Blood Sacrifice, using the Plague Marines to do so, which is a good idea because the Death Explosion knocked back those Stern Guard as well. 169, 101. Predator tank is going to go down here. Or is it? Yes, gets a rear armor hit to those Plague Marines, and they're level 3. And Noisy, that was a really bad engagement, I didn't think he was going to stay in that engagement with that. His Devastator there. In my opinion, he should have pulled out. And his scouts are just dead weight now. They're not capping, they're not doing a whole lot in battle either. Raptors level 4 will now try and decap mid. 169.94. Force Commander has capped Tyger's natural, and Noisy could get his natural back for a quick triple if he can force off these Raptors. No, he can't. Double Scouts not doing a whole lot of damage with their piddly little bolters there. Stern Guard veterans capping 50% faster will take their natural back. Plague Marines decapping Wreck Point, really annoying, and retreating out. 169.82. A double cap. Force Commander catching Raptors in retreat, but can he get a hit? He can get a hit. Here's a Chaos Predator now. No mark for it yet. Starts off with the autocannon on top and those heavy bolter side sponsons. Force Commander isn't afraid of a tank though, and just runs after it. 169.56 at the triple cap for Noisy. Can he take this? Markov Khorne CSM taking back Tyger's natural, but he needs to get back onto the field. Has really missed his Chaos Lord, I think, despite having a very good engagement taking down Terminators and Predators. Has really missed that guy. Stern Guard veterans loading in their Vengeance rounds, which do reduce their range but do good damage to all targets. Now using And They Shall Know No Fear as well. I think it's a 40% damage resistance, and they also gain a 50% chance to knock back infantry in melee combat. Look at the damage those Vengeance rounds were doing to those Markov Khorne CSM. Stopping them from capping there, that was awesome. And Noisy takes the game with a double cap, holding on to take it. one awesome game. Really high level play from both players, masterful performances. That Razorback usage was awesome. Thank you for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.